All right, Jimmy Johnson on FS1. Why did he think the Dak deal took so long to get done?
I think because they've got the same feeling that we've got. He's a very good player, but he's surrounded a couple of years ago, surrounded by some great players. That's when the offensive line was healthy. They had the receivers. Ezekiel had, his best year, and he struggled when some of those players got hurt. So they're looking at him and they say, hey, he is a very good player. He's a great leader. He can win a championship as long as we have great players around him. But is he great? They paid him great money, though.
Why is that comment or an answer so offensive? It is dead on accurate. People get offended around here, these Dak heads, especially. I could name like 4 local guys, and they get all up in arms if you even suggest that they're still evaluating Dak. If you just don't stamp him as great, you get some of these Dak heads that get all up in arms and lose their mind. Brian Broaddus said something about Dak Prescott I'll never forget last year, about Jerry Jones looking up in the meeting multiple times, I think it was 2 years ago, and saying, are we sure this is the guy? Based upon the way he's playing right now, based upon the way our team is playing, are we sure? There's a reason. Mike Fisher came on here yesterday and said that in all his years covering this team, Dak Prescott's assessment and the way we judge him is more polarizing than any other player he's ever covered. And that's saying a heck of a lot, because Tony Romo divided and brought opinions from everyone as well, especially a younger Tony. So for Jimmy Johnson just to say, well, the Cowboys, they were still trying to figure out and are still trying to figure out if he is great or if he can be great, it's brilliant from Jimmy. It's dead on accurate, and I don't know why so many Cowboy fans are offended by that. Help me.
Well, I could tell you personally, they're not wrong that there's been help there, but I want have the same consistent take when they give Tom Brady a pass for not having help. Well, Tom Brady doesn't have any help. Well, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have any help. That's why he had a down year. But when Dak doesn't have any help, it's that Dak can't elevate his players. Have the same take. Not you, just people in general. You can't give Aaron Rodgers a pass for having 3 straight down years. You can't have Tom Brady a pass for having some down years and say, well, he doesn't have any help around him. But when Dak Prescott doesn't have any help.
But Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady have won without elite help at points in times throughout their career.
Tom Brady's never won without a top 8 scoring defense. Aaron Rodgers had the number 2 defense in the league when he won a Super Bowl. He's got one.
I'm talking about who he's throwing to, his offensive help. He's had guys that he has elevated, like Julian Edelman and Wes Welker and some other guys. Aaron Rodgers, number 1, has been Jordy Nelson, and he's been throwing to Greg Jennings. And those were during some MVP seasons for Aaron Rodgers. So Greg
Jennings and Jordy Nelson are better than what we have, and we've got great receivers, or they're as good as what we have. Just that's all I'm saying. Have consistency. If you're going to give Aaron Rodgers a pass and Tom Brady a pass and Russell Wilson a pass for not having great help around him, you can't say that Dak is a product of his help and not give Dak a pass who doesn't have great help.
We're talking about giving those guys possible passes at 40 years old, not at 28. All right,
Russ,
it's different.
We did the same thing for Russ. Well, Russ has no help. Dak Prescott was bottom in 2019. In 2019, with this great Cowboys receiving core, they were bottom 5 in yards after catch, which means he was bottom 5 in help from his players, from his teammates. Bottom 5 in the NFL.
He's always had a top 5 offensive line, a top 5 running back, and then we can argue about the receivers with older Dez and older Witten and then getting Amari Cooper. He
hasn't had a top 5 offensive line since 2016.
Okay. Well, he's got 4 or 5 first-round picks up there.
Yeah, but they're old or hurt. Like the left tackle is you can't count on the left tackle.
Yeah, in the last year. The point is this. if you take Joe Schmo, if there's 10 Joe Schmoes out in the backyard, and Rodgers is going to take those 10, and Brady's going to have those 10, and Dak is going to have those 10, can Dak score as much and be as good with 10 Joe Schmoes as Rodgers, Brady, or Russell Wilson or some of the other guys? That's the argument here. That is my way of defining elite or greatness. When he doesn't have everything surrounding him or a lot of nice assets surrounding him, then is he going to ball out? And my answer to that is we don't have evidence of that. I would lean towards no versus yes right now if he doesn't have CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. And I understand everybody needs help, but Dak Prescott has not proven if he's got Joe Schmoes around him that the Cowboys can still win 11 games. Period. Like we can fight about this for the remaining 4 hours of the show if you want to, but it's I don't even see how it's debatable. First off, we've only seen him with bums for a half a season, and they historically had the worst offensive stretch they've ever had in the history of the franchise.
It was his second year. It was his second year. Does that not count for something?
Oh, how am I supposed to judge him without help? When else have we seen him without major help?
Tyron Smith has not played more than 13 games in a season at any point in Dak's career. Ever.
Okay, 13. Fine, 13 games. That's
Travis Frederick
an entire year.
has missed half the seasons he ever played with Dak. He missed 2018, and then obviously he wasn't here this year. So 2 out of 5. He didn't even play in 2018, and he was bad in 2019.
RJ, you don't believe Dak Prescott is elite. That's all Jimmy Johnson's saying. We're trying to figure out if he's good, great, or elite. That's all he's saying.
We know that he's not elite. We know he is great.
No, we don't. You throw around the word great. Luka Doncic is elite and great.
No,
great
he's elite.
He's elite.
He's elite. Luka's elite. Luka's elite. Patrick Mahomes is elite.
I'm not going to agree that Dak Prescott's a great quarterback. That's way too high a praise. I'm talking about great. Great is a hell of a compliment.
Yeah, I think we're just semantically using two different terms.
Let's get Jimmy's evaluation on Dak.
Let's hear more from the 7th winningest coach in Cowboys history.
Oh, so now Jimmy's a bum? Is Jimmy a bum now to you? Jimmy, are you trolling?
Well, look, I mean, he is the 7th winningest coach in Cowboys history by winning percentage. He's not a bum. But he's outdated. He is woefully outdated.
Is he elite?
He is not elite. He is not elite.
Here is Jimmy evaluating Dak.
I think he's a great leader for the team. I think the team really rallies around him. So he is a positive influence there. He can, before the injury, he could make plays with his legs. He could run the football. And, he fit into their system. He has had problems at times being inaccurate. But with that receiving core, he gets people open. So I like Dak, and I'm kind of like you. I think he can win you a championship if he has great players around him. I don't think Dak can carry a football team if he doesn't have great players around him.
Again, nothing offensive. What's inaccurate? What bothers anyone about that? What I'm taking from Jimmy and what I feel myself is, and again, I don't like to throw around the word great. Dak as a quarterback to me is like a 7.5 approaching towards an 8. Is that offensive? I have Mahomes as a 10. He's a 10 by himself, and then Rodgers can be a 9 and Russ can be an 8.5, and I have Watson at like an 8 and Dak at like a 7.5. What is any of that offensive?
No, it's not offensive, but I would put 7.5 in that elite category. But here's my issue is not what he has done. It's that nobody is giving him the opportunity or even the remote thought that he is going to get better.
Yes, that's true.
That's a major issue for me. When we had talked about the Russ versus Dak issue, Russ at 27 or 28 and Dak at 27 or 28 are basically the same guy. The numbers show that out. They prove that out. And the idea that, well, Russ got to this level, but Dak can't, is just the absolute reverse of, well, if all the Mavericks reach their peak and everybody else in the NBA plays to their worst, then we'll be the 4 seed that Mike Fisher's talking about. It's just the reverse of that. Why do we not give Dak the ability to grow?
Because the reason I don't think he'll ever be Russ is, and I've said it many times on this show, I don't see him throw it as well as Russ in terms of the deep ball. He's not as mobile. He's not as good running it. And those are just like 3 of my reasons. When I watch Dak Prescott throw game in and game out, I don't see as good a special playmaking ability as Russell Wilson. And that's it. The numbers for Dak through 28 can be just as good or even better. Just watching them as players, if I was writing down a scouting report, I would write down, if someone said, write down 5 things from each that jump out to you watching them, the first 3 things would be about Russ. That's my answer to your question.
Write down something.
Write down 5. Watch these 2 guys and write down the top 3 most impressive traits from either one. Write it down on paper that you see. And I would write down my first 2 or 3 observations would be about Russ. I would say he throws the best deep ball in the league, arguably. It's beautiful. He is an incredible athlete. And in terms of deciding when to run or not, that he's maybe the best I've ever seen in terms of getting down. Those are 3 things I would say about Russ's game before I wrote something down about Dak's game. Does that make sense?
Sure. But I think the idea that Dak doesn't throw Dak, as Kavanaugh said yesterday.
I never said he doesn't throw a great deep ball. I'm just telling you why Russell Wilson, in my mind, what I see is why he's better on
Russ
paper
throws
than
one
Dak
of the best
Prescott.
deep ball. Yeah, Russ probably throws the best deep ball in the league. But as Kavanaugh pointed out yesterday, Dak throws a better deep ball than 90% of the quarterbacks in the NFL. And, I mean, the numbers bear this out. They just do. Is he as good as Russell Wilson right now? He's not. He's not. But the idea that he can't be, or that this is the best he's ever going to get, and the refusal to give him any kind of growth is what has always irked me about this argument.